Hi, friends. It's time for another episode of Create This Book. The book is starting to get kind of thick, but we've still got a few more pages to go, so let's just get into it. First page I'm going to do says Create Weather-Based Decor. Fill this page based on the current weather condition. Now, this may look nice, but it is currently as hot as Satan's butt crack, so I guess we're in the middle of summer. Lately, when it's not 8 million degrees outside, I've been really enjoying laying outside in the hammock. That weird line in the middle of this hammock is supposed to be a leg. I'm trying to get away with showing a person in the hammock without having to actually draw a person. But I can't seem to get the proportions right, so I got rid of that. I don't lay that way anyway, I would fall right out. Instead, let's put a hand holding a book. If I can make a book that actually looks like a book. I tried to think of something else to fill in this space, but short of a puddle of sweat under the hammock, I don't know what else screams summer heat. I'm going to color this in with colored pencils, so I'm going to erase these lines with a kneaded eraser to make them as light as possible. Starting the coloring, these tree trunks are one of my favorite things in this episode.
That is really sad.
But honestly, I spent so long looking up references to try to make these look like more than brown rectangles, and I'm really pleased with them. I do wish that I had thought to maybe add some branches and leaves so that they actually look like trees and not lumber, but what are you gonna do? Here I am coloring the hammock. This part's really boring. It's 2 colors in stripes. So let's move on. This is probably the best human I've ever drawn. I mean, look at that hand. It's got the right amount of fingers, they're in the vaguely correct spot anatomically, and then there's that weird excuse for a book. Whatever. Again, I looked up references for how to draw grass, and I spent a lot of time working on it. But it still looks like it's sort of floating in there, like bad Photoshop or something. So far, this picture is pretty boring to me. Maybe adding the sky in will help. I spent an irrationally long amount of time trying to blend out this blue-colored pencil. I added some straps on the hammock so it's not just hovering in space. And then I tried to add some clouds. I used a white Posca marker and my finger to build up layers slowly and blend it out so that it looked nice and fluffy. And there's the finished picture. I still am not the biggest fan of it. It's not a bad drawing by any means, it's just really boring to me. Should I add something to it? Should I completely redo it? Let me know what you think. Now let's try something different. The next page I'm going to do says, create an unusual combo. Think of an object, draw it as if made from an unusual material. I spent a long time contemplating this page. I thought about doing a car made of candy, a bear made out of flowers, all kinds of things. But finally I've got it. Wait, where do you come from? Anyway, first I'm going to draw a duck. Then I'm going to realize that my duck is way too far over to the left and redraw him a half an inch to the right. On the other page, I'm going to draw a roll of something. This is duct tape. Because this is a duck made out of duct tape. For this drawing, I am going to outline it because I want him to be nice and crisp. Now, I know I said this duck is made out of duct tape, but that's not completely true. I actually stepped in this weird alien duct tape that is slowly taking over his body, but not all the way yet. And I didn't just decide this after I started drawing duct tape lines and decided that it would take forever. Where did this alien duct tape come from? I have no idea, but look at it. It's huge compared to this duck that obviously has no self-preservation skills. He must be cursed. And he cursed me right along with him because I was working away nicely when this happened. No! Now let's get back to this hapless duck. I struggled for a really long time trying to decide what color he should be under his duct tape prison, where I made a revolutionary choice. Yellow. And let's give him a pupil so he stops staring at me like the undead. That's better. The page still needs more. Anyone else struggle with backgrounds? I contemplated a bunch of different ideas, but I ended up just going with purple. I left a loose white border around the duck and the tape, and used a darker purple and a blending pencil to make a little bit of a gradient and give it some pop. I decided I liked this one enough to seal it in with some Mod Podge. Is it any more interesting than the hammock page? Not sure, but I didn't actually have any better ideas, and it kind of makes me laugh, so I like it. Moving on, the last page I'm going to do says, create a fancy name. Write your name on this page in a fancy way. First, I'm going to do this on a separate sheet of paper. I have an idea for this page, but I'm not sure if half of it is going to work, so I'm prepping for disaster just in case. I got these brush markers in a craft subscription box, and I've been wanting to try them out. I drew some real loose interpretations of pink roses. I mean, real loose. Like, these look best if you squint. And I felt like it needed a little bit more, so I added some purple roses. Purple roses even exist? Okay, they do. Now these markers came with a blender, and I did try it, but it didn't seem to give me the look that I wanted, so I'll have to experiment later with that. Somewhere, and I can't remember where, I swear that I saw that you could blend these out with water. I mean, they are water-based markers, so it makes sense. The first rows, I used way too much water, because the colors weren't really moving at first. But I figured out as I went that you have to give the water time to do its thing. It's a grower, not a shower. Marker would eventually start bleeding and blending, so all I really needed to do was one swipe over it with water and wait. With the purple roses, I figured out that it needed even less water. The first few kind of look more like tie-dyed pansies than flowers. I also blended out the leaves, but I didn't make any shocking discoveries, so let's just breeze through that. I could have left it like that, but more is always more with me, so I decided to add some definition with these metallic Posca markers. Not bad so far, but the theme of the page is creating a fancy name. Where's the name? Here it is. I ended up using a Posca to fill all of the spaces in, because I really didn't want to use up my whole brush liner coloring all of that. As it was, it still took 2 coats from the Posca. I glued this into the book, and then, because I know from experience that Mod Podge will reactivate watercolor, I decided to cover this page with packing tape to seal it in. I really gotta get better at my taping skills. But all in all, I really like this page. I had fun experimenting with it, and I think it turned out really pretty. What do you think? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.